These are the 5 things you need to know about the Bills before the Pittsburgh Steelers head into Buffalo to face them this Sunday in the Wildcard matchup. So, there's a lot of things going on with the Bills and the Steelers game, some good storylines going on, but these are things that the Steelers fans should be paying attention for during the game. So, to start off, I'm going to say Josh Allen, he is mistake prone, meaning that he does throw interceptions, he does get turnovers, he does make mistakes, and that's something the Steelers keep their eye on and kind of look out for the game. He is the only person in the league that has less interceptions than Sam Howell. So, Josh Allen, he has 18 interceptions this season, making him the second most interceptions in the league. And he's basically thrown an interception in every single game this season except for 3. So, he is mistake prone. He does make mistakes. He does get turnovers. But that's something the Steelers just can't take lightly. Just because he gets turnovers doesn't mean that he's not a good playmaker. Because he's one of the best playmakers down the field, making tough throws and with his legs as well. Josh Allen finished this season with over 4,000 yards again for 3 consecutive years, and he averaged 7.4 yards per attempt while throwing 29 touchdown passes this season. He also finished with a very solid passer rating as well, with 92.2. Despite all the turnovers that he gets, he still shows up, and he led the Bills to the playoffs. Down the stretch, they had to go on a little winning streak in order to make it, and that's what they did. They're basically in the same position as the Steelers. They start off very poorly to begin the season, and then they got into a losing streak, and then late towards the end of the year, they had to win out basically, and that's what they did. So they're basically on the same timeline as the Steelers in winning games late in the season. So just because Josh Allen is turnover prone, he makes mistakes, the Steelers secondary is depleted. So you can't rely on him making mistakes against the secondary, where basically everyone who's be playing might be backups. I know Minkah Fitzpatrick, he should be back for this game. DeMonte Casey, he might be returning, but they're just returning off of injury. The Steelers linebacker group is injured as well. They're playing with backups at that position, so that Josh Allen's going to be facing the Steelers secondary and linebacker crew that's a little bit depleted, so you can't just rely on the turnovers. He's going to be picking it up late towards the end of the season, and that's something just to keep your eye on for this game, a storyline for the Bills. So that's the first thing that you should be looking at for the Steelers and Bills game. The second one is Stefon Diggs. This is his least productive season that he's had in Buffalo so far in his career. The veteran receiver, he was still a solid receiver. He started off the year fast. He finished with a total of 107 receptions for 1,183 yards and 8 touchdowns, but it seems like his production was just at an all-time low. He started and got most of those yardage at the very beginning of the season, and then late in the season, it seems like he never cracked 50 for a while there. So, Stefon Diggs, he's someone who is still a very productive receiver in this league in terms of playmaking. He makes tough catches in the tough times and someone you could rely on. And it seems like whenever he faces the Steelers, everything gets thrown out the window. Whenever he faces the Steelers, it seems like he always goes off against us. So he's someone, even though this is his least productive season, sometimes he gets mad on the sidelines because he's not getting the ball, not getting targets, not getting catches, yardage, and stuff like that. And he kind of throws a fit on the sidelines. But either way, that's someone that the Steelers need to keep their eye on because he could be a playmaker at any given moment. And that's someone the Steelers might decide to double team as well because of how good he has been against the Steelers in his career and how good he's just been overall as a receiver. So, Stefon Diggs, he's someone to keep your eye on, even though he has not had his most productive season in Buffalo this season. But Gabe Davis, who is a little bit banged up for this game, he might not be playing. He might be playing, who knows. But if he doesn't play, then Stefon Diggs will get even more attention and maybe even more targets and receptions from Josh Allen because they're going to be without their secondary playmaker out there at the receiver spot. And then he would get more attention from all parties involved. The third thing you need to know about this team is, just like us, their defense is a little bit banged up. Obviously, it's not as much as our injuries have been this season with losing our whole inside linebacker group, our whole safety group, but they are dealing with injuries as well. Most of these injuries they've been dealing with from the beginning of the season or the first half of the season. Former All-Pro cornerback Tre'Davious White, he went out with a torn Achilles on October 7th, and they've been missing him ever since. Then in November, former All-Pro linebacker Matt Milano, he went down with a leg injury of his own. All of that came before a couple of key contributors left the game Sunday against the Dolphins this past week with injuries as well, who are their cornerbacks Rasul Douglas and some others. So they may be a little bit depleted. Who knows if they're going to play the ones that got injured against Miami in this last game. But they are missing those two key contributors that I just named, the former All-Pros, but they have been missing them all season. Basically how the Steelers have been missing some of their players the whole season as well when they went down early with injuries. So the Buffalo Bills, they're a little bit banged up, but I guess at this point in the season, they're used to playing without them because they have been playing without them basically the whole season, just like the Steelers. So that's just something to keep your eye on. And if the guys that got banged up against the Miami Dolphins aren't able to play, I probably think they would play because this is a playoff game, and it seems like people just magically come back for playoff games and their injuries go away, or at least they just play through the injuries. So who knows? But that's just something to keep your eye on. And the third thing I have listed for the Buffalo Bills. Now, moving over to the fourth thing, even though I said that their defense is a little bit banged up, that doesn't mean that their defense is not good, because something to keep your eye on is the pass rush is relentless. The Bills, they ranked 4th in the NFL this season with a total of 54 sacks. And we all know, even though the Steelers' run game has been dominant, they've been able to run the football and run it for a lot of yardage. When they drop back to pass, their blocking has not been great. It seems like the Steelers let up pressures a lot. It seems like Mason Rudolph has to get the ball out quick sometimes because of it. So that's just something to keep your eye on. They did finish with 54 sacks and 4th in the NFL. The Ravens are the only team the Steelers have faced in 2023 that totaled more than the sack group. They were able to hold off a little bit against the Ravens. At some points in the game, you did see the strip sacks with Mason Rudolph and him taking sacks this past week against the Ravens. So that may happen again this week, going up against a good pass rush. But on the other hand, the Steelers are playing in a very rainy game, so he might not be holding the ball as long, or he might even be able to hold on to the ball more because it's not going to be raining. It might be cold, but it's not going to be raining, so the ball's not going to be slippery. But who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. But their pass rush, they really have 5 different guys with at least 5 sacks this season. Leonard Floyd leads the way with 10.5 sacks, followed by Ed Oliver with 9.5, AJ Epinesa with 6.5, Trell Bernard with 6.5, and Greg Rousseau with 5. So they've been getting some help all around with the pass rush, and it's not really one guy like it is with the Steelers, where TJ Watt has 19 sacks, but then the next best person doesn't have over 10. So it's not like that for them. They have basically everyone contributing, and even though there's not a high sack total for one specific person, each person is chipping in to their own. So that's just something to watch out for. And when looking at it, the Bills allow the 7th fewest passing yards per game at 196.6 per game. So Mason Rudolph will have his work cut out for him against the Bills defense. Even though they might be injured, their defense pass rush is still good. So that is the 4th thing to keep your eye on for the Steelers and Bills game. And the 5th and last thing I want to talk about is they're going back to their offense, their run game. It has slowed down a little bit, even though their run game at the beginning of the season and towards the middle of the season, that was something they had to rely on. James Cook, he has quietly slowed down a little bit towards the late end of the year, and they have been using Leonard Fournette and Murray a little bit more, Latavius Murray that is. So they've been running the ball, and it seems like he dominated Dallas back on December 17th with 179 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns from scrimmage in their 31-10 win. But then he failed to go over 70 yards in any of 3 games after that, and his yards per carry average never went above 3.5 recently. So he has been struggling a little bit, and I guess it's coming at a very good time for the Steelers. facing him. You don't want him to be rolling heading into the game. The Steelers are going to have their hands full against Josh Allen and passing the ball and him running the ball. You don't need someone else rolling as well in the run game with James Cook. So hopefully that's a good thing for the Steelers, that he slowed down and it allows them to keen in on other things like actually stopping Josh Allen and this passing game. But these are the 5 things you need to know heading into this game before the Steelers take on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So the first thing was basically Josh Allen is mistake prone. He gets a lot of turnovers. The second thing was Stephon Diggs. He's having his worst season with Buffalo, his least productive one. And then the third one was that they're a little bit banged up, but they have been playing with them basically all season. And then the fourth thing is their pass rush. And the fifth thing is James Cook. So this is everything you need to know and the top 5 things to keep your eye on for this game before the Steelers face them in the wildcard matchup. But if you like this video, if you've been informed and updated on anything, make sure you turn on notifications for the channel so you never miss out on any videos I make. Click that bell down below, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and subscribe on this video as well, and so you don't miss out on anything Steelers. And also, just let me know down in the comments below, who do you think will win this game? What are some things you're keeping your eye on for this game? And do you think the Steelers will pull it out, or do you think the Buffalo Bills will win it, as they are highly favored? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this game. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.